Hello, this is Dr. Greg Wagner from Snoozle Learning. On today's class, we're going to go over how to create a Java project in Eclipse. So the basic learning objectives for this particular class are just basically to go over the basics of Eclipse. So we'll talk about the differences between projects and classes and how to get started and stuff like that. And then what we'll do is I'll give you a demo of how to make a basic Java project, and then we'll actually make a Hello World program and run it. Okay, to get started, I'm running on Linux, but the examples won't be that much different if you're running on a Mac or Windows. So I'm going to find the Eclipse icon. So you got this little moon going over some sort of sun object. You open up Eclipse. So I'm running Eclipse Neon 3, which is the latest version as of June 14, 2007. But if you're running earlier versions, later versions, it's not so much the same. So I'm going to you come up when you first time you run Eclipse, you come up on this flash page. Also, you'll sometimes get asked to open up a workspace. So for this case, we have this splash page, but I'm going to jump right into the workbench. The workbench with the icon up here, and you might have something different if you're running a little bit different version of Eclipse. But the workbench is actually where the IDE is. IDE stands for Integrated Development Environment. IDEs include Eclipse, Visual Studio, etc. So I don't want to see this every time. I actually want to go to the workbench every single time. So I'm going to click on this arrow and go to the workbench. Now you hear this space here. You can see this icon up in the top right corner, which represents the Java space. You can also pick different perspectives. We have Java, Java EE. I guess this is Java, and I'm running Java EE, stands for Enterprise Edition. I like the Enterprise Edition better than the regular one, but pick a version that you like. Then up here on the top row is just a toolbar of different items. On the left here is just open up a new project. The disks for save. You can open up a terminal, so you can actually see. You can run your space. So I have my space. It's called Fuzzball. You can get rid of all the breakpoints. Breakpoints are something that you can see when you're doing the debugger, which we'll show today. These are the different debugging tools. The little bug here is to run a debug. This is run. We have run external tools, create a dynamic project, so on and so forth. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a new project. So to make a new project, either find file and then new, and then I'm going to go down to project. Now we're going to make a Java project today, so Java is the top one, but we have a lot more space. You can just type Java. So make a Java project, then click Next, and I'm going to call this Java project, whatever you want for the name, and then it'll create a folder. So I have the workspace set for called Workspace Snoozle, but you can pick the folder pretty much anywhere. It'll make a project. I'll make a folder within this workspace. So I'm going to call this Snoozle example, and notice how it's creating a project. I'm running version basically Java 8, Java SE 1.8 for the Java, but you can select a lot of different versions. Java 7, so SE 1.7 it's also very common. You can pick the things. I usually just typically pick just the basic settings, and this will show you what it builds, and then show you an also example where you want the output. Normally I just keep this the same, and if I need to change it later. You can see other projects are part of this. Nothing right now. It's using the basic Java library, and what things are built. I'm going to finish this, and I want to associate with the Java perspective. Yes, as a Java project, it's going to create a Java. So right now we have the Patch Explorer. This shows you all the files associated with this. So right now we don't have much. We just have the basic Java library, and then source, which has nothing in it right now. Source is where your Java code's going to go. And then also on the right here you have a task list, and then here you have kind of a status bar. We can get into this a little bit later. So now that we have this workspace open, we want to actually create a class. So a class is the basic unit of development or of coding in Java. So I'm going to right click on source, and then I'm going to pick new, and then since this is a simple project, I'm going to actually just build a class. Generally, the best practices in Java is you want to put everything in a package. A package is basically a group of code that's very similar. And then you can make something called a jar, which is a Java archive, for kind of grouping things together, and then you can import them to other people. But since we're just making a simple hello world, we're going to make it this class. So you click class, and this pops up your basic window. And so you have your source folder. It's going to put it in source here. You have your package, which is what we just created, and then you want to give it a name. So in Java, and most languages, the class is actually what's called Pascal case, where the first letter of the name of your whatever you're going to call it is uppercase, and then you distinguish between different words by having uppercase letters for each new word. So you'd have uppercase. So in this case, I'm going to call this test driver. So notice that the T and the D are both uppercase, showing for the different words. And so you usually want to make classes public, which means anyone can get them. Inherit methods, I just keep that default. And then public, so I want to make it main. So main is what actually the Java virtual machine, the Java interpreter, looks for main when it wants to run a project. And then I want to generate comments. So I like to have comments in a lot of my code. So I'm generating this project. You can see it has the author Greg, and then it has the basic parameters for this project. And then you notice how it packages it. I guess I just by default calls it snoozle example. And so I want to just run this package. So what I'm going to run it as is I'm going to create a hello world. So in Java, the output, basic output statement that prints to the console, basically your text window, is system.out and then print line. And one thing I like about Eclipse is it auto fills out stuff for you. And so it's telling me here I have auto code completed. Exit this, and so I'm going to say hello world. Hello world is very cliche now, but usually when I do a new programming language, when I'm teaching a class, I usually do a hello world. One thing I like about hello worlds is it takes almost no time to build, but also it shows you, kind of make sure that you can actually run a program. And so I'm going to make a hello world, and then in Java, to actually run a project, so you need to save it, and then to run a project, the bug here is to do a debugger, and then if you want to do a test, actually run it, you click this little VCR play button, and so I'm going to say run as a Java application, and then it should run the program, and you can see hello world down here. So one thing I also want to show you is how to actually run your code in a terminal. So I'm just going to create a basic terminal, open a terminal here. So this is like running in Java, or running it in Unix. Now I open up a real Java terminal. So right now I am in Fuzzball, which is like my home directory, but I want to go into my workspace, Snoozle, where I have my workspace, and then I'm going to find the project. So I have Snoozle example, and so it puts it in this folder here. So in Unix, I'm actually putting this folder, and then actually I want to try to see if I can build this project. So in Java, you have to compile the code, which creates the .java file. So I got testdriver.java creates the .java file into a .class file, and then you use the Java virtual machine to actually run it. So I'll do Java C, and since this is in a package, I have Snoozle example. I'm going to do Java C and then dot. Oops. So I'll do Java C Snoozle dot, and then source, which is where the file is, Snoozle example, and then what I want to do is run my code, so it should be test driver. So this actually builds the file. Now if I do ls, you can see it built. When you do the -d, actually builds everything in the for the package, and so creates this snoozle example, and then if I run Java snoozle example, it'll say dot, and I hit tab, it'll say test driver. So test driver is the actual class, and then I'll run the program, and it makes hello world. So this is just a quick example of how to get started in Eclipse. There'll be my following videos will actually have build up different Java programs, add more complexity, and show you how different functionality of Java, as well as showing you how to use Eclipse to do C, Python, and to make PHP files. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you want to subscribe, please click below to subscribe. And if you want to follow me on Twitter, my Twitter page is down below.